To my brother Jack, I am very sorry. I'm currently standing in your room and I'm going to take four more of your fragrances to review. Take it as a compliment though. It's because you're so good. You got me into fragrances and that's why I know these are going to be great. So I'm going to do some first impression videos downstairs. If you ever see this, I'm sure you'll appreciate it really. And of course, feel free to spray some of mine. Not really. Anyway, time to head downstairs. Time for a review video. Fit them all in the pockets. It's like Christmas has come early. Look, I've got all these. Right, I hope I don't drop them on the way down. So yes, hello there. I am back on the home treadmill and I've got 5 fragrances to do a first impressions of today. So 4 are actually from my brother and I've actually taken 1 from my dad's room and I can't believe he's got this fragrance. It's one that I've owned before, so it's not really a first impression, but I haven't had it for so long. I've mentioned it recently. It's a little bit of a nostalgia one. So what I'm going to do again, if you haven't seen these videos, essentially I'm just going to give first impressions. I've got my phone by me, mention what the notes are, the rough price of it, and just give my overall thoughts, and then I'll rank them essentially and what I like the most and which ones I recommend and if there's any I don't like. So we've got 5 here, as I said. 2 Azara fragrances that my brother has. One's a Mont Blanc. We got a police fragrance and a Lush body spray, a Dove Lush body spray. They just keep coming out with more and more, don't they? So I thought we'd start then with the one I do know, and I can't believe my dad has this, and I think the reason he does is he's recently been to Benidorm with his friends, and I think he just wanted a slightly small phrase he could throw in his bag, and it's this one here. It is Mont Blanc. Yes, Mont Blanc Legend. I had this, my brother got it for me for Christmas about, it's got to be at least like 6 years ago now, and this was kind of, in my opinion, what was around before blue fragrances. This has been compared to Abercrombie & Fitch. I think it's called Fierce. I don't think it's First Instinct, but one of them it's been compared to with this. And essentially it's lavender. It's lavender heavy. It is a bit of that sort of versatile shower gel type fragrance. But yeah, it's more lavender heavy compared to what you're getting in these blue fragrances today. But it does exactly the same job. Sporty, youthful, a little bit juvenile, quite synthetic. So that's why I'm surprised my dad has it, because he obviously is more used to the smoky scent. He's also currently got Abbot Rouge by Guerlain and the original Aramis, so this is a bit of a contrast, but I thought I'd kind of give it a bit of a spray again today. But I'll tell you what the info is on it. So it says on here, on the perfume shop, I would never pay this price, by the way. It's £77 for 100ml. You don't need to pay that price. If you can get it on eBay for £30, that's fine, that'll do the job. This is a 50ml bottle anyway. So the top notes of this one: bergamot, lavender, as we said, pineapple leaf, verbena, fresh, clean, light citrusy and herbal. So that's the sort of top notes. In the heart we've got oak moss, geranium, coumarin, apple, rose, pomarosa, soft green woody with fruity and floral touches. So there's a little bit of this fruity element with this fragrance, obviously having the pineapple in the opening as well, and apple in the middle. And then the base is sandalwood, tonka, and then Evernil. That's a new one to me. I've never heard of Evernil as a note. Warm creamy wood and a sweet, slight powdery finish. So again, powdery sweet, but there's a fruity freshness with this, which is very easy to pull off. So that's the sort of whole note breakdown with this fragrance. Nothing too complex, nothing too out of the ordinary. Notes that are still very much popular today. But what does it actually smell like? Let's give it a spray. I really like this. It is the lavender for me. And I think it's the apple that's really pleasant in this, but there's that real creaminess which you're getting from the base of this fragrance. It's got to be a bit of that tonka and sandalwood. It's so nice. I love this. It smells synthetic, yes, but a lot of the blue fragrances do. And I think it's great. For me, this is exactly what I want. Again, it takes me back to my teenage years a little bit more, and early 20s. It sort of smells like, and this is going to sound bad, isn't it? It smells like a schoolboy, teenager, essentially, who likes his sport and just wants to smell fresh and clean, and that's what it does. It makes you smell fresh and clean. It's a great brand, Mont Blanc, very high quality brand. And I think this just does everything that these current blue fragrances do, and for me, maybe better. As I said, if someone wants like just that little bit different, a bit more fruity, and a little bit more lavender base with a floral component, and an uplifting citrusy woods at the end, go for this. Just change it a little bit. It's nothing too different from a Dior Sauvage or anything like that. and it will do exactly the same job. I'd happily dress this one up as well, to be honest with you, but I think it's great for that sporty vibe, that sporty person. So yeah, I very much like that phrase. It's so nice to smell it again. It's been so long. I might have to buy that one myself. So that's the first one done. Let's have a look at what we've got next. So all these 4 are my brother's fragrances now. We're going to go Zara, and it's the Vanilla Collection 02. So where is this one? He's had this one for a while, but it was right at the back of his drawer. Looks like this, the bottle. So it's quite a nice bottle. It says it's unique, hypnotic and seductive. So this is kind of already getting that vibe. It's going to be a night out fragrance, date night, quite cosy. I'm guessing vanilla, obviously a very cosy note, and I can imagine there's going to be some caramel vibes in this. But let's have a little look at the note breakdown and obviously the price. So the price for this one, $17.99 for 100ml. That's not bad, is it? And Zara's great for that. Zara is very good for these prices, and you can find some real gems in their collection, as you would have seen with some of my reviews lately. I absolutely love them. So the top notes: bourbon vanilla, rich, sweet, creamy vanilla. I like the sound of that richness as well, because vanilla can be quite powdery at times. This has a little bit more darkness about it, a little bit more depth from that opening. The heart, amber, warm, resinous, slightly sweet. I do like amber. Again, I think it's very good at toning and just bringing all the fragrance notes essentially together. It binds everything really well. And then the base is labdanum, balsamic, deep, slightly smoky, resinous. I'm sure there's more notes in this. Again, a lot of these brands now don't like to share too many of their notes. I don't know if that's because they want to keep it a bit of a secret, so you can't clone it in the same way. I think, let's be honest, it's probably just people aren't that interested. How much of these notes can you really detect? Ultimately, what matters is how does the fragrance smell overall. It's, you know, you can look too much into it. So let's give this one a bit of a spray and see what it smells like. I don't know what this one smells like. This is the first time for me. I'm expecting good things though. And I'm expecting it to be more like the modern fragrance. So obviously we said Mont Blanc Legend, bit of an old school fragrance now. Oh wow. Yeah, this is super strong. That's date night to the extreme. This is a lovely dark vanilla. I think this is a clone. It smells a bit like Tom Ford Noir Extreme, but ever so slightly sweeter, And I think that labdanum, yeah, I am getting this deep smoky resin, but it's a very sweet smoky resin. It's dark vanilla. It's basically that. If you really like a sweet dark vanilla, this is great. And I think that smokiness, that resinous components from the amber and the labdanum are making it that more masculine. Vanilla can be quite sweet and almost smell a bit feminine, a bit powdery in that sense. This one though, it's everything it says on the bottle. It's dark, it's hypnotic, and it's very, very seductive. That's a brilliant fragrance. That is a really, really good scent. Wow. I have to say, first 2 fragrances so far have been really good. I think if you quite like those mass-pleasing date night type fragrances that are, you know, it's not caramel in it, you get that sort of vibe, you know, it will do the same job as those popular ones, Ferragamo, Uomo, all those night out scents. Obviously, Azzaro's Wanted by Nights, it's certainly in that mould, and I love it. Again, a little bit like the first one, Mont Blanc Legend. Yeah, it's been done a million times. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. That's why they clone them, and that's why people copy those scents. So that's the first 2 done. We're going to go on to a lush one, which is a little bit of a change in scent here. I do not know how to pronounce this, so please bear with me. Sempashijul. That's not right. But it's this one here. And I'll read the info that's on it. It says, like the bold colours and scents of marigold, this bright fragrance guides you through sparkling grapefruit into a juicy bergamot hug. Now, grapefruit can be quite zesty in itself, and bergamot definitely does bring that zestiness, that sort of, yeah, really rindy citrus, let's say. So it'd be interesting here. It's basically grapefruit and bergamot, and then fruity notes of marigold. So let's see if there's any more info I can find on this. So $35, according to ChatGPT, it's going to be roughly £30 for a 200ml bottle. Grapefruit, bergamot on the top, bright citrus, spark, fresh and uplifting. Kind of what I've said. Heart, marigold, which is this Sempashijul. Please let me know how you pronounce that. Floral, slightly green and distinct. Base, benzoin, balsamic notes, patchouli, warm resinous sweet notes and a bit of earthy depth. So yeah, there's a lot of patchouli. I have to say Lush do like their patchouli. I think women's fragrances in general tend to, but what does this one smell like? I'm expecting there's something to be quite zesty and maybe a little bit of a floral component in the dry down. Oh wow. Okay, this isn't, to be honest, zesty at all. This is very much, I really like that. Now they've done a couple of fragrances similar to this before. One called Peaches, another one called Passion, which was a passion fruit fragrance. This is very sweet, very, very sweet. But I love it. This is that exotic fruitiness. If you like those sort of exotic tropical fruit smell, that's what this is. This isn't that sort of rindy, sparkling citrus which I was expecting, particularly from those opening notes. It's a very soft one. And again, that probably explains, it's probably the marigold. It's probably the whole name of the fragrance. I'm not going to try and butcher the name again, but I think that is what's sweetening this fragrance up a lot. And obviously you've got benzoin in the base, and it's certainly toned down that zestiness, which I think is great. They've got plenty of zesty fragrances. Zesty itself is obviously one, you know, and I don't think they need another one. I think this is exactly what I want. Really, really nice. That is great. Oh, these are good. First three fragrances, I am super impressed. It's so hard to do sort of first impression videos, hence why you can tell I haven't pronounced things, I haven't read anything out, but it's the best way sometimes, because if you go into something, you know the smell of a fragrance, or if I've planned it and pre-recorded it, you can change your opinion to try and sound a bit more smart. Don't want that with these. I want this to be literally just off the cuff. How does it smell? And I can tell you that smells great. If you like that sort of feeling of a spring day with a nice sort of smoothie, a nice sort of tropical smoothie, that's what that is. But it's definitely more feminine, certainly more feminine, but it's very approachable, a little bit more youthful. I love it. I do love it. That's a very good one. So number 4, going back to Zara again. So this is one that my brother bought the other day when we went to London. Again, love the bottle. It's a really hefty bottle. I don't know if you can see it. It's like glass right at the bottom. That's, you know, the fragrance isn't even sitting there. It's really heavy. So this one is called Sand Desert at Sunset Intense. So you can imagine this is probably going to be in a similar mould to that vanilla one we smelled earlier on. $25.99 for 100ml. Top notes: incense, orange, smoky resin and bright citrus. Heart, cinnamon, tonka bean, chocolate. That's good, I like chocolate in fragrances. And it's essentially saying it's a spicy sweet gourmand. This is looking good to me. I like the sound of this. Base: cedar, iris, amber, vanilla, woody and powdery, soft, warm sweetness. I think the question I'd ask here is this one going to smell a lot different to the one earlier on? Does it kind of do the same job? Even if they smell different, would it make the other one more redundant? So I'm expecting a very sweet, slightly spicy dark chocolate smell with hints of sort of caramel, because it does say it's a gourmand. So I'll just let that sit for a second. Okay. Ooh, see now this isn't, I'm not really getting the vanilla from this. The other one, obviously called vanilla, is a lot more vanilla heavy. Yeah, it's the incense in the top with the orange. This is a lot darker but less sweet. But it's still quite youthful. Again, it fits that mould design. This is a little bit more grown up, I would say. This is like the older brother because of that more smokiness that it's got in it. And you do get a bit of that iris as well. But that actually makes it more wearable. Look, it's a night out fragrance, still more of a winter one. But on a cold, frosty day, you could wear this to the office absolutely fine. Certainly more than the other one, I'd say. I'd say this one is more fragrance and less of just a gourmand. Because sometimes gourmands can almost smell like, say you smell a coffee, for example. Maybe you wear a coffee fragrance, you can almost feel like you smell a coffee or smell a baking cookies. This smells like a fragrance. Yeah, a little bit more mysterious, maybe not quite as seductive as the other one. But if you like incense, orange, and it's all toned down by those sweet gourmand notes in the base, then this is a great fragrance. A little bit more complex, a little bit more classy, let's say. I like that. I like that a lot. So the last one's going to sound a little bit disappointing compared to those, because we are finishing with a police fragrance, and this is Police Contemporary. If you don't know police fragrances, they're cheap. That's all they are really, they're cheap. A little bit boring, but they're versatile. And I always say they're actually a really good brand for buying for gifts, because you're not going to spend a lot of money, and if it's someone who's just getting into fragrances, maybe a teenager, they're not going to find this too out of the ordinary, too daring, and that's absolutely fine. That's what you want. You're not going to think, well, they may love it, they may hate it. This, they'll probably just think it's alright in general. So, Police Contemporary, it's about £11 for 100ml, £11.37, that's very precise. Top notes: bergamot, grapefruit, juniper, fresh crisp citrus with a hint of juniper. I love juniper in fragrances, adds that little bit of fruity iciness to it as well, which gives it kind of a boozy vibe sometimes. And looking at the heart, this may have a bit of a mojito vibe, because it's got mint geranium, violet lavender, and then you've got jasmine, rosemary, sage, aromatic herbal floral feel, slightly green. So, sounds good to me. It's quite a lot in this actually. I say they're boring sort of fragrances. I think there's more going on in this one than I'll give it credit for, because the base also has a lot as well. So it has musk, oak moss, sandalwood, cedar, tonka bean. So you've got soft musk, woody depth, warm sweetness. So yeah, just that very easy woods make it very versatile. And they just tone the fragrance, they round the fragrance off, and hopefully this won't be too harsh as a result of it. I've got to remember where I haven't sprayed fragrances now. One problem with police fragrances though, the atomizers are terrible on them. Right. Right, hang on. A little bit alcoholic, this one. A little bit like antibacterial hand sanitizer, but obviously let it dry down a little bit while I talk about it. What am I actually getting from that? Well, I'm not getting the bergamot. I think I'm getting a juniper, but it's very synthetic, this. Wow. Definitely violet. Certainly not getting any sweetness or tonka bean or anything like that. It's just boring. I know it sounds really horrible, but there's nothing to this. I think you'd be better off just buying a body spray. But Police do some great fragrances. There's a lot of hit and misses. As I said, I've got Police Extreme. I think they've done one called Freeze or Frozen as well. They had one called Independent at the time. They were brilliant fragrances, but this one, I can barely smell it now. No, it's just alcoholic blast, slight citrus, slight greenness, slight woodiness, all sort of in a synthetic nest really. And that's, I said, I don't want to be too critical, because Police do some great fragrances, but yeah, this is one that you throw in a gym bag and you literally just spray it to walk home or go to the shops. You don't even care really. That's what I get from this. So I know that sounds horrible, and I don't mean it to be, because essentially that's what this is. What am I expecting? It's £11. It's fine. It's not daring, it's not out of the ordinary. It sort of burns your nostrils a little bit from that alcoholic blast, but it's nothing too much. Top up through the day, if it's like 40 Celsius outside, this will be absolutely fine. So what I'm going to quickly do then, just going to give them all a quick smell in a couple of minutes, and then I'll rank them. Which ones do I think is the best? Which ones do I recommend? Yeah, we'll go from fifth to first. So yeah, let's give it a couple of minutes. I'll finish this walking at a bit of a quicker speed, get my breath back, and then I'll talk a bit more detail. I'm going to rank them from fifth to first. They've dried down a little bit, some have changed slightly in their smell, but actually in general most of them are quite linear. So fifth, Police Contemporary. Look, it's not a bad fragrance, but it does feel a little bit bare. Even the bottle looks a little bit like it's just been quickly put together, and yeah, it's just not very memorable. But again, if you just want to get a gift for someone, something really cheap like a stocking filler, this is fine. I like the fact that the bottles are quite thin, because you can just slide them in a bag. Good for a car fragrance if you just want to spray at lunchtime, and I think that's okay. But personally, I think Police Extreme is better than this, similar price range, and even the original is very nice as well. So for me, that one's a little bit forgettable. Doesn't do anything daring at all, but it's not super strong to the point it's harsh synthetic. It burns your nostrils on the opening and then it goes to nothing, so it's fine. Then fourth, what would I put fourth? For me, and this is hard, by the way, this is a really tough tournament to go. I'm going to go for this one fourth, Sempasuchil. Does that sound right? Something like that. But anyway, the reason I've put this one down is not because I think it's too feminine for me or anything like that. But Lush has done fragrances like this before, that fruity sweetness, which is great, but it doesn't break the mould. You know, I think of Sakura as a lovely fragrance. I think of Salty, you know, they all have that sort of nuances of this as well. And Passion, as I said, which they did, and Peaches, they do a lot of these fruity sort of gourmand fragrances, and I don't think it does anything enough for me to go, oh, I'll pay £30 and get that one. If you've kind of got one of those, even the Comforter, which is more of a blackcurrant smell, I don't think you need this one particularly. It doesn't break the mould enough for me to say it's great. Not when you look at Karma and Cinders, which are not newer releases that smell like top fragrances. That one just doesn't do enough. It's quite fruity, quite harsh around the edges. It doesn't have that refinement, which a lot of the Lushes don't, to be honest. Third, I'm going to go... I'm going to go this one. Yeah, so my brother's most recent buy. Sand Desert at Sunset. It's nice. In fact, the dry down's becoming really nice and creamy. I'm going to change my mind. Sorry, this is what happens when you try and do things off the cuff. Mont Blanc Legend. It's nice, but there's many fragrances out there that can do those jobs. Look, I don't think this Police one does it. But that you can get a sort of, and again, these fragrances have been cloned many times because they're great. Sometimes I think you can just get a clone or a cheap shower gel type fragrance and it'll do the job. But the versatility is great on this, but it doesn't wow me in the same way, that's all. But I think I'm also saying I like it more because of that nostalgia, because it takes me back to being a child. But again, people who are into their fragrances, you might want something a little bit more complex, a little bit more refined, and yeah, just something that's a bit more of a compliment getter. I feel like that one's almost going to be the, say you were in a relationship, you were a girl and you're in a relationship, it might smell like your ex a bit as well, so you don't want to smell like her ex. That's just the thing, it's just been overdone maybe, which then means I'm going to put this one second. Sand Desert at Sunset. It's really nice, and that incense is there, but the creaminess has really come into effect now. And what is that is coming into it? It's got to be the vanilla, it's got to be the tonka bean. It's not really chocolate or cinnamon I'm getting from this. It's probably the orange and vanilla mixing together. It's made this really nice creaminess, and the tonka beans just smoothing the edges. It's classy. You could definitely wear this with a suit as well and use it in multiple occasions. This is a signature scent for the winter. Doesn't maybe have, well, it certainly isn't suitable for a summer's day, but it's just nice. And again, I keep reaching to it, but number one for me, so Zara's done well here because it's getting number one with this one for me. So it's the Vanilla O2 collection, which they did say unique, hypnotic and seductive. Just going to spray it one more time, and that's what it is. I just think it's really nice. It's a really nice dark vanilla, and it's just giving me that Tom Ford Noir Extreme type vibe. Whether it's a clone or not, I'm not 100% sure. I think it goes off in its own way. It's a little bit less, it's not as dark maybe as that one. I do love it. That labdanum mixed with the vanilla. And I like the fact you've got vanilla at the top. Again, it's normally a base note, which we've seen with some of these fragrances today. It's great, and it's got enough complexity, I think, to be really popular. Yeah, I love it. I don't really know what else to say. Dark vanilla. If you like that sort of scent, it's so mass pleasing. This is a compliment getting fragrance on a cold day like today. Superb, absolutely superb. Those two Zara fragrances, spot on. They're really good, but all five fragrances there, I have to say, they're all good in their own right, whether it's for their price, their versatility, for being fruity, for being fresh, for being a bit more dark, mysterious. They do a job. And actually, if you just had all five of them, you could literally just get by, because you could have this one, Mont Blanc Legend, for versatility, this one for your cheap dumb reach sort of fragrance. If you want more of a fruity floral type fragrance, you could have this one, and then the two Zara fragrances you could certainly wear on a night out or dress up occasion. So yeah, my brother's done pretty well again there, and obviously my dad having that Mont Blanc Legend took me by surprise. But I hope you've enjoyed this one today. Let me know if you've had any of those fragrances and what your thoughts are on them. I'm sure some of you have definitely had Mont Blanc Legend. Have you had any police fragrances? And what's your experience of some of the Lush body sprays? I know I mention them a lot. I have to say that definitely consider Zara. If anyone hasn't tried the Zara ones, Go and try them. There's some misses there, there's some boring ones, but you'll find a couple of gems in the shop because they do certainly make some good ones. But thank you for watching today. Better put them back before he gets home, and yeah, I'll catch you later.